Because I wanted to look smart before you recorded it now.
We can.
It's good.
We don't have to look smart. I don't think anyone.
No, I don't think anybody's tuning into
we
this.
Because
like,
we're brilliant
look at these
people.
geniuses.
Yeah.
Look what they've done. No, you're right.
We need to know. Yeah, we need their analysis here to be spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
no.
you don't come
None of
for
this
some
comes
bullshit.
naturally.
No, you come for some intellectual discussion.
Yes.
On the Drew Carey Show.
Cheers.
Salute.
Now, what were you just asking me?
So, I was saying, because we're reviewing episode 5, episode 6, and little did we know, this is also, I think we should let the audience know, the first time we've actually watched them together in person.
Yeah.
I don't know if it made that huge of a difference. It was pleasant.
I guess we'll see in what our analysis is.
Right.
Because I do find that when I watch it alone, I stop.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pause it when I hear
You'll
something
take
I
some
like.
notes.
I'll take a note, and then I keep going.
I
just
definitely
went the whole way.
I definitely did less of that because we were streaming it from my laptop, and I thought typing on my phone would be fine, but I don't think I caught enough of the jokes that I wanted to write down.
So I think my observations this time around are a lot more generalized, which could be good.
I think it could be loose.
It could be a little more
more
loose.
fun.
We don't need to verbate. Quote the whole episode for you all, even though you all would really love that.
Oh,
the listeners at home.
And it makes it easier for us. Somebody already wrote the jokes. We don't have to write anything.
We don't have to write anything. No.
But what I was going to say was, watching episode 5, episode 6, it's the beginning of a long-term season arc. Not season arc, but definitely like through a stretch now. We're going to go into 3 episodes that all revolve around the same plot line with Drew, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But
we
hadn't got
interesting.
What's the other word though? Because up until it's serialized, is that what I'm thinking of? The show has been serialized up until this point, where they're kind of like capsule story. Episodic, yes.
It's an open book and it's a shut book.
Correct. We get a whole story and it's tied in a bow by the end.
You can start watching at any point. You don't need to see episode 1 or 2 to watch 3.
Right, but now if you watch 6 without 5, you'll be
You're
confused.
like, what are they fucking talking
exactly.
about? Why is Drew a patriot all of a sudden?
Right, exactly. Drew Carey, cancel culture icon.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Let's get into episode 5 then to start with.
Let's just get rolling.
I love this cold open. It's fantastic. Drew finds himself again in a carpool. And it's just him and some other guy, Bill. And it's great. Bill seems pleasant. he's got all this space. He makes a joke about he can just lay down in the car.
Yeah, I guess Drew's the only guy that Bill's picking up that day.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But then Bill gets a phone call on his car phone. In case you were wondering how dated this show is, it's when car phones were
car phones used to exist. Could you imagine having
a car phone?
Like it's like a landline in your vehicle, people calling your car.
Yeah. I was just talking about this with someone last weekend who had a car phone in the 90s. And they had called their mother, and they were like, "Hey, how are you calling me? Look out the window. I'm in the car," and like holding out the car phone. What a novelty! Now we've all got pocket phones.
Yeah. I guess it's way more.
Yeah, it's way better. It's way better than having a goddamn landline in your
Maybe
car.
we could just disconnect. The only time you're accessible is either when you're in a building, or in your car. That's kind of nice.
Right,
and
but
otherwise you're off the grid.
That has to be the start of distracted driving. Could you imagine being on a landline, being like, I got to pick up this phone call? Telemarketers calling you in traffic.
How'd you get this number?
Yeah. We're worried about your car's extended warranty, the thing you're in right now. Bill gets on the car phone with his wife, and they're having a not great time. Basically, Bill threatens to drive.
Yeah, Bill's going through a troubling time.
Going through a rough go.
Sounds.
He's threatening to basically kill himself in the car, which Drew... I did write down the one line I liked, which was, Drew says, "Does this car have passenger side airbags?"
Yeah, because the conversation at first, Bill seems like a totally pleasant, regular guy,
Absolutely.
which I loved.
Yeah.
And then they pivot right to just like he picks up and he's like, he's yelling at his wife to get a job. Why don't you get just like an old school level of verbal abuse? It seems. But no, the one line to kind of set up the kill yourself line. He was like, if I didn't have a girlfriend on the side, I would kill myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm
still on
here.
the line.
He left the line open. And then
Enter title sequence. It's a great little... I like how they like drop these little the carpool, which we'll see again in episode 6, they do the same thing. I really like that as a structure for the cold open of explaining Drew's situation. I think it's good.
And
it's a nice little narrative.
It's a nice
technique.
little. I like that they break away too from the actual point of the episode, because it was the same thing with the credit sequences too.
Yeah.
On both opposite ends of the episode, they're kind of just sandwiched between two. Like here's just they're episodic in a way. Here's just
almost
a little bit.
Yeah, they're insular in a way from the rest of it.
That's a good word.
So we get to the office for episode 5. I do want to acknowledge. Oh, I guess we don't actually get to the office immediately. We start at Drew's house. The furnace is broken.
Yeah,
they're
and it's
all
cold.
My man's cold as hell.
Everyone's got jackets on jackets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's I like when they're talking about here, and he's like, "What happened to that global warming?" And he starts spraying Lysol or some aerosol cleaner out the window, just hoping for warmer air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Funny, but I guess also, what's Ryan Stiles' character's name again? Lewis. Lewis
took notes calling him Ryan this week.
Yeah, same. Lewis is trying to fix the furnace?
Yeah.
Because Lewis has any idea how to fix a furnace?
No. Well, he is a janitor, correct? So,
yeah.
I don't know. Do we extend that to handyman?
Yeah, okay, fair. I forgot his
job
background
title.
here. Yeah, what his resume is.
He comes up from the basement, though, and they were like, how'd it go? And he's like, well, I got some oily stuff I was playing with, which it's good. But yeah, basically, he's shit out of luck.
It's reminiscent here of you remember in Christmas Story, the old man, the dad, who was also fighting the furnace at their home in Cleveland?
Yes.
Maybe it's just across the board. It's a regional thing.
They've got real
very
heat
fickle
heating
devices.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm, no good. Kate shows up with a python. I didn't
We don't
understand.
see this one. We should clarify the animals we see and we don't see.
That's true.
We saw the Komodo dragon. We never saw Bobo the monkey.
Right.
And
we don't see
the python that her, I guess, boyfriend Barry.
Her ex-boyfriend Brad. Yeah. It's his
ex-boyfriend Barry had a big python and left it at the. You'd think that'd be one of the things you grab on your way out when you get thrown out.
Do you think they just blew the budget on the Komodo dragon?
Yeah, maybe they did.
I like that they blew the animal. They were like, "Oh, we got big ideas," and then they were like, "We only have this much that we can use," and then we got a big fucking lizard.
Or maybe the Komodo dragon filed a complaint against it was a hostile work environment.
Hostile work environment.
And now
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
None of the animals will work with the Drew Carey show.
Yeah, and we learned then about Barry, her ex-boyfriend. They're finally trying to settle things. She wants all of his shit out of her house.
Right.
Yeah, it's becoming a problem, as we learn when we go into the office. Drew has to write up a memo because Kate, in particular, has been taking too many personal calls at the office. But we learn the personal calls aren't necessarily like her having a good time.
No, it's Barry calling the office.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Threatening her almost.
Yes.
So Drew has to write up this memo. He's really bummed about it. And then he calls Kate in. And basically like...
Well, no.
Well, we're skipping over.
The most integral part here
is he's bummed about the memo, and he includes...
At the same time, he gets... One of his coworkers is like, Drew, you got your daily cartoon facts. That's something... Somebody's just sending Drew cartoons, and it's just an understood thing, I guess, in the office. Yeah. They didn't explain why. Drew didn't say anything about a source. He's just like, oh, great. And he got it, and... they laugh about the cartoon.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what the cartoon is?
The cartoon, I believe, it's just, and we don't see it. We see like it from a distance.
It's tell, don't show.
It's tell, don't show. It's a caterpillar hooking up with a French fry.
Yeah.
They making love, making out. Like we're not really sure what state they're in. We don't know what we see, but you can imagine.
Right.
Drew thinks it's fun, and he thinks in order to boost office morale, it'd be a great idea to include this at the bottom of the memo about the calls.
Yeah. Right. So he's just kind of trying to. He's what do they call that? Whenever you sandwich a criticism between a compliment or whatever.
It's a criticism sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Or a love sandwich,
love
something
sandwich,
like that.
That's it. Yeah.
He's just trying to be a good boss.
Yeah, he's a good boss.
Good supervisor.
I'd love to work for Drew.
I think it'd be fun. I wouldn't, not everybody agrees.
Yeah. Apparently not.
But I also just want to bring up, because I guess, is that woman Drew's assistant that we see? Alice, right?
I don't know. They have a good rapport.
They got a great rapport. It seems that she's the one giving him things, and like he's giving her directive. Anyway, she also brings up the Indians win. This is the first time I think we've acknowledged the Cleveland Indians.
That there are sports besides the shirts.
Or exactly. Besides the apparel, they bring up the win. Mimi has some joke. I wrote down what I thought it was. I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong because it's kind of offensive against Native Americans. But, it's 1995. And the team was called the Indians. So, whatever. But yeah, it's the first acknowledgement. And also, I think it was kind of funny they made that joke looking now that they changed the team name and everything.
They're going to talk a lot lot about the Indians.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah.
I mean, in the intro in the later seasons, he was pretty famously at like an Indians tailgate. Like, yelling Cleveland Rocks off the back of a pickup truck. Mm-hmm. So it'll come.
Yeah, it'll be there.
And that's all right. You know what? That's
things change.
Times
change.
Yes.
We'll see. I mean, but also
we should be proud that we did change.
In a weird way, I feel like these episodes also remind me, and we'll explain, I think, more as we go on. No matter how much things change, things also kind of stay the same. Like, I feel like this is a narrative you could put in a sitcom today, and it would be just as resonant almost politically and culturally
100%
where we're at right
this,
now.
yes.
Which just kind of is amazing to think that this fucking show nobody watches.
Everything's cyclical in our culture.
Yeah.
All these, all our complaints.
Yeah.
And, just the only thing that changes are the technologies and like subtle things on how it's displayed. The players, yeah.
So, anyway, Drew sends out this memo. He brings Kate in. Kate decides to call Barry from Drew's phone and be like, hey, ultimatum, you're getting my shit from your house, and then we're going to deal with it. He threatens her back. Drew gets on the phone, puts on a pretty good tough guy act, I would say.
I won't get ahead of myself, but Drew has a good, like, stern, courageous voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's good. He was very good at sticking up for Kate in this particular instance, but he puts on a good tough guy.
And then they make an agreement. All right, I'll go get my stuff, and then that's the end of that. Almost immediately though, after the phone call, after the Kate situation is resolved, quote unquote, Drew gets a call from Mr. Bell, and Mr. Bell basically goes, hey Carey, that cartoon you put on the bottom of the memo, which just went out.
Yeah,
it had just got out 2 minutes ago.
They do it. Here's the problem with this show and only having 3 fucking locations is it's really hard to show the passage of time.
Yeah.
So evidently it was supposed to, the memo I guess went out in the morning, but then the next scene is still in the office.
Right.
And they're all still wearing the same clothes because it is still the same day.
Had time passed?
Time had passed.
I hadn't even realized
because
that.
They make a reference to the memo that went out this morning. And that is the only reference they have that it is a different time of day. Because otherwise, I would just be like, what the fuck? He didn't even send it out yet.
Yeah. How did somebody already? But anyway.
Yeah.
Mr. Bell informs Drew that someone has complained that the cartoon is sexually explicit and not appropriate for the office. So, I don't know what really Mr. Bell asks him to do, I guess, other than not do it in the future.
Yeah, I think he just explains that it's kind of a hairy situation.
Yeah.
And the only way it escalates then is Drew is hellbent to figure out who complained.
He's furious.
He's so upset.
Yeah, because he doesn't understand how anybody could be offended by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
caterpillar and a French fry. You know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't immediately jump, though, to him terrorizing his staff. He does do that. So the next scene, it cuts to he's back at home. We're playing pool outside. Ryan Stiles and Oswald, they're all, I'm just going to say.
We'll just call him Ryan.
We're just going to call him Ryan.
And we're not going to call Diedrich Bader by his name.
No, because you don't know who he is. But
apologies to Diedrich Bader. We kind of know who you are.
So anyway, they're back. They're playing pool outside, and they're just referencing how Drew cannot seem to let this go. Drew's clearly explained the situation to his friends, and he's talking about, I just don't understand who could get offended by it. It's a French fry and a caterpillar, whatever. Then enter Jules.
Yes. Enter the neighbors.
Enter the neighbors, our favorite Appalachian family, Jules and his wife. And here comes the B plot of this episode. I think is very funny.
It's very good.
It's at, at first, Jules' intro is he walks up to Ryan.
Yes.
and what
Lewis.
Whatever, and he says, hey, how you doing, guys? And he's like, and Lewis says, just fine, you stupid fat slob biker dude. I'm like, what?
No subtlety.
He just
Zero
caught a
subtlety.
stray on
yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Wild.
But, then Jules explains that I guess he's looking for work, and he gave these businesses Drew as a reference, as a job reference. And that, and Drew was like, why would you do that? He's like, you're the only number I have. And then Drew's like, you have other neighbors. And you're like, yeah, but they don't like me.
Yeah. And he asks Drew specifically, when you answer the phone,
can you say Drew Corp?
Can you say Drew Corp?
And not only that, he does interior design for Drew.
What?
And he makes $75,000 a year.
What job was he applying? Did they say it was an interior design? I love the details.
I don't remember the job, but I just love how specific this was.
Could you imagine that man doing interior design for you? Could you imagine that Komodo dragon loving Appalachian motherfucker?
Yes, I feel like you'd have Christmas lights in the house.
Mm-hmm. A Harley Davidson poster. I get the vibe.
Yes. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit calendar.
It's the centerpiece that holds it all together.
But then we also find out, though, the point that Jules, because Drew's upset by this, then Jules is like, oh, I thought you'd be in a better mood, seeing as I've been faxing you all these cartoons at work.
Jules is the one that sends over the cartoons.
Is the one just faxing Drew at work for fun, just to be a good neighbor.
How does he have his fax line at work?
I don't know.
If he only has his house number, I'm amazed he also has his work fax line. Yeah. It's good. But yeah, so of course it comes back to Jules fucking over Drew in this situation.
Yeah.
Kate enters, and Kate basically explains that she has changed the terms of Barry's retrieval of his garbage, or not his garbage, his things. And it's now going to be at Drew's house, which Drew's thrilled about. Drew's, I think he was fine putting up a tough guy persona over the phone.
Sure.
Now it's setting into him that he's going to have to confront this strong man, presumably, in person, and he's a little scared. He's a little spooked.
Yeah, now he's making a real emphasis that Ryan and Oswald also need to be there.
Absolutely.
Fun line that I liked here was Drew was talking about, oh, you can't do it at my house. What if he has things that he, that are missing, that he's going to be upset about? And in Kate's like, he won't miss anything. Maybe his insulin.
Why would this guy be diabetic?
I don't know. Because then you see him.
We see him and we're like, that is not a diabetic man.
No.
I mean, not to discriminate at all.
No. I guess he would have had the
type 1
diabetes.
He would have been a type 1 diabetic.
The handsome diabetes.
Can we say the Ozempic diabetes. Yeah. So this is where my notes get hairy. I know we're back in the office. Did you write a little more? We both laughed at this Drew's secret shelf I have in my notes.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
So it's something Kate says in response to Drew, but I can't remember the context of what he was asking about.
So it was just about Drew was asking her, were you offended at all by this cartoon? Because at this point Drew is back in the office and he's terrorizing staff members
trying to figure out which woman complained.
Yeah, and they're all these like old cosmetic department ladies. And anyway, Kate comes over and she's like, hey, you gotta lay off, etc. And that's where Drew's like, were you offended by this cartoon? And she's like, I've seen your secret shelf. I don't find anything offensive. What does that?
What could be on Drew Carey's secret shelf?
Yes. Write in, audience, if you would write in and let us know what you think.
Drew's secret shelf.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what's on Drew Carey's.
It's got to be porn, right? Like, I don't know what else it could be that would, like, what else? I just don't know.
Maybe it's just Indians memorabilia.
Yeah, that's the really bad stuff.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. So after Kate talks to Drew, we then enter Nora, who is another one of their coworkers. And Drew, at this point, has made a big scene out of the cartoon. He's hanging it up on his office wall, trying to make a point that he's like, could you imagine somebody being offended by this? I don't know. We learn slowly it is Nora who has raised the complaint.
Right.
And that she thinks that Drew is being a sexist, essentially, or at least making light of sexual harassment by putting it on the wall, by sending it out to the office, this, that, and the other.
Again, a reminder, this is a cartoon with a caterpillar and a French fry.
We're
We're Team Drew, I feel like, here, right?
Yeah, I think
I mean, granted, I haven't seen the cartoon.
Yeah.
I don't know where the caterpillar was touching this French fry.
I don't know how much genitalia we see.
Yeah.
I don't know what caterpillar genitalia looks like.
How much of the French fry was in the caterpillar, or vice versa? I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess we can't pick sides, but Kate picks a side.
Kate picks
here,
a side,
and
but
she really sticks up for him.
At first, she tries to kind of level Nora by being like, "Sister to sister, let's talk about this."
Yeah.
That fails almost immediately. She sees through it. She actually makes a comment about Kate only having the job because she's friends with Drew, and that the whole office knows that. Pretty mean. Pretty mean.
Yeah.
I think that's, fair. Kate then goes
that's a
nuclear.
dig. Oh yeah.
So
Kate has another level.
Kate basically implies, go ahead, file a lawsuit to say that this is a hostile work environment. Doesn't even matter. I bet you're only offended by the cartoon because you're not getting any.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And so was The Office. Yeah. Everyone's
turning around.
Everyone's interested. Because again, this office has no walls.
Yeah.
This is a cubicle.
This is all plastic and everybody can see everybody. Yeah. So Nora leaves. Drew's terrified now, I would say. And then yeah, we end up next scene. That's the end of that, I think. Oh, Mimi does something.
Mimi says there was a joke that neither of us heard initially. It was like you collated all these backwards.
Yeah. That's right, because Drew's saying it's always the quiet ones that complain. Mimi comes out, yells at Drew about collated papers. We couldn't understand what the hell she was saying.
No, and is that a dated thing? Do we still do that to papers?
I would say so. I see collate sometimes, like when I go to print something at work. I don't know what it really means.
No, I don't. I don't mean to.
Gun to my head, I
show
couldn't
my
tell you.
age here.
Yeah, I don't mean to show my ignorance.
Yes.
Because if anybody at work's being like, I've asked you to collate things, I'm like, well, I hope you're fine with it.
Yeah.
I hope you're happy. End of the office scene. We finally
We go back to Drew Corp.
Exactly. We go back to Drew Corp. He answers the phone. They're waiting for Barry to show up, and he gets a phone call asking about the interior design job, and he just goes through the motions. Yes, whatever he said, whatever Jules said, that's correct. Hangs up. He's sick of this already. Enter Barry. The guys aren't there. We should point out Lewis and Oswald are not at the house yet. Barry arrives. Wants to speak to Kate alone. And Drew says, Kate has asked me to be here. Kind of like, puts up a good act, I would say. At least at the start.
At the start, he just says, hey, that wouldn't be right. Kate has asked me to be here, so I'm going to be here. And then they proceed. Anyway, Barry starts talking to Kate. And then you can tell he's frustrated. He's like, can we go talk outside? Can we go talk? He keeps pushing the issue. Mm-hmm. And then I forget how exactly this escalates.
But it escalates quick. And it basically escalates to like him like getting physical, almost slamming a door.
Oh, he does. He hits a door, and then that's when Drew's upset. He's like, I haven't finished paying this place off yet.
which
I thought it was his parents' house.
I don't
so
understand
maybe
what
inherited a house that his parents didn't start paying. I don't know. Anyway, so Drew gets a little mad about the house, and then he's like getting between Kate and Barry. And Barry, we should say, is significantly taller than Drew.
Right.
They make him out to be a big guy. Also, great head of hair.
I was gonna say he's like this. It's beautiful Fabio blonde hair. He's built, I would say as well. He's not like bodybuilder, but he's built. Like pretty muscular.
He's got broad shoulders, and he stands much taller than Drew.
This is an audio podcast. It's kind of like if I tried to stand up in front of you. I think that's kind of the vibe we're getting from Drew Carey.
Similar, yes.
Yeah. I'm the Drew here.
But you know what? You did a great job.
Yeah. I did. Drew basically stands up, defends Barry, defends Kate against Barry. A lot of courage.
He just he puffed his chest out. He's like, and in essence, just basically tells him to get his stuff and get the hell out of here. But he's also simultaneously, in the conniving, sneaky Drew way, just trying to buy some time until his friends get here. Because Ryan and Oswald are supposed to be there to be his backup.
They do it at the exact right time. Basically, in the middle of his speech, the door opens and the guys show up.
Drew's going on this rant, and then he's like, until my friends get here, and then he looks over Barry's shoulders. Ryan and Oswald are there, and he's like, could you guys buy a fucking watch? He doesn't say fucking.
It's network television in the 90s.
HBO would have.
Yeah, they absolutely would have let him say fucking.
They would have let him say fucking.
The implication was there.
Yes. He was upset.
So anyway, yeah, that's resolved. Then Barry gets his stuff out. We don't see Barry again. We go back to the office. Drew thinks he has a 9:00 interview, and that is this gentleman has arrived with who he presumes he's going to interview. No, that guy is there to serve Drew legal papers, get a lawsuit for a hostile work environment from Nora.
Yeah, that's.
And then it kind of ends.
That's just I was a little surprised that they serve him these papers. I think he has like a quip or two at the end, and then that's just it.
Yeah.
I think simultaneously in this episode, though, at the end in the scene, isn't he like decorating? He like puts a little American flags all around the cartoon or anything, because he starts making this like a free speech,
a First Amendment right
issue.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the start that we see there.
Patriot Drew emerges.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just ends.
Yeah.
No Warsaw this episode. I noted that.
I just really thought, based on the first 4 episodes, it was going to be episodic throughout. I really couldn't believe.
I couldn't believe that we had like a plot now.
Here. Yeah. So I do also want to acknowledge this episode title. No two things in nature are exactly alike.
What, these are so long?
Don't worry, they change now with episode 6. Episode 6 is titled Drew Meets Lawyers. What's going on in the writer's room?
That's 2 different guys wrote these episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'll get things like Miss Wright or like, Drew Meets Lawyers, but then you'll get like,
Drew Meets Lawyers, though, is so... It's just like...
Nature abhors
How does this
episode
vacuum. Begin?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're wondering, how does Drew Meets Lawyers begin?
How does Drew Meets Lawyers?
Actually, it begins with the carpool.
I love this one. This one's so good. So Drew ends up in a different carpool. It's an all-female carpool, except for him. And it's more women that work on the floor of the cosmetics department. And they're all talking about this lawsuit they've heard from upper management, creating a hostile work environment, and they feel it. They feel for this woman because they think that these men at the top have been taking advantage of them.
It's about time that someone throws a fit, that they sue him, that they get him. They start talking about how physical they'd get with him, how if I ever meet this guy, I'd smack him around, I'd break his arm.
Drew is the
only man in this car.
He's just sinking into the front.
And
I like that they also don't know it's him. Like, that's not established at all. So he can kind of hide, but he's like hyper aware that they're going to kick his ass.
Right.
And then you said it, and I totally agree with you. Drew the Rizzler comes
Still
out.
the Rizzler.
The Riz King.
He calms the waters a little bit right at the end there. I forget what the quip is.
He jokes about an aggressive male driver that's next to them.
Oh.
And he basically says, he doesn't say this explicitly, but it's basically, he's got a small penis if he's driving a Porsche.
Yes. And they all laugh. They love him.
They're all enamored. So. Title sequence. Drew can weasel his way through a situation. It's beautiful.
And then next scene.
Yes.
Drew meets the lawyers.
Our first cameo, I would say. It's a cameo, at least. If we've had some before, we don't know who they were.
No.
We know these people.
And I don't even think the audience knew really who the ones before were.
No.
But this time the audience clearly knows it's Penn and Teller.
Penn and Teller. Magicians extraordinaire Penn and Teller.
Penn and Teller
yeah.
are the lawyers here. And I was really blown away by the audience
having a reaction.
They were like, because if you see Penn and Teller now, like, people know who they are.
Yeah.
But they were like, oh my God. Like, yes.
Again, we were born in the late 90s. I want to know how big. Did they have a Vegas thing in the 90s?
I don't know.
I know they
or
did.
They just had
they did
TV
like HBO show and things. Yeah. I love that they're not even in costume. Like, Penn's got the ridiculous hair. Right. He's got the painted fingernail.
Not only are they not in costume, their names are Fenn and Geller.
It's a little on the nose. A little on the nose.
Yeah.
But basically, they introduce themselves to Drew as the lawyers who are going to help him, sent by the company to navigate this lawsuit. Which Drew takes as like, oh, well, thank God you guys finally showed up. We're going to win this First Amendment rights. I have freedom of speech. It's not that offensive. And he slowly learns, essentially, that no, they're actually there to be like, listen, you did this without any supervisor approval, this, that, the other. We need to settle immediately.
Right.
They're there to cover the company's ass, not to help Drew out.
And as they're explaining this, well, they explain that they used to be personal injury lawyers. Mm-hmm. And here comes the first fun sort of gag with
I forgot about this.
With Teller is some sort of self-harm here. Yeah. I mean, he like is playing with a pen or
Is it a
scissor
knife?
or
I think
a knife.
It's like a little pocket knife.
I don't know what's going on, but he cuts his hand, and a cartoonish amount of blood starts spurting out the end of his fingertip.
That's right.
And it's going all over Drew's desk and everything. And
to the point where Fenn starts being like, you got to apply pressure to his hand.
So Drew has to put his finger on top of Teller's hand just to stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
But
while being interrogated about his not a crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, at first you think he's going to represent them, and they end up being the company lawyers. They want him to settle, and
Drew says no.
Yeah, Drew is pretty defiant in this moment.
This was also one of the lines
Patriot
I wrote down.
Drew Carey.
Patriot Drew Carey. Because of the physical comedy gag, I did write this down.
With the blood.
He says, I'll get my own lawyer, one who clots. It's good. It's good. But yeah, so we draw on the line. No, Drew's going to take this all the way.
So it cuts back to his house. Drew's wearing a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame shirt.
Yeah.
We're in Cleveland, new Cleveland representation.
There's one other thing in Cleveland that isn't the Indians or the Browns, and it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Excuse me. We learned they're basically looking for
a lawyer. There's not a lot of lawyers out. They're searching for a lawyer.
Yeah.
And Oswald's searching the phone book under lawyer. Yeah. And like Drew's and lawyer. He's
Drew
like,
goes,
I can't believe there aren't any lawyers in Cleveland. And Drew's like, try attorney. He's like, oh my God, there's 1,000.
There's thousands.
Yeah.
We also then learn Kate's ex-boyfriend Brad, different from Barry, is a lawyer. So Drew basically pleads with her to try to
set up a meeting.
Exactly, just so he can talk about it. They end up lying and saying that it's like one of her pretty girlfriends, I think, to entice him to come over.
Yeah.
And they set up a meeting with him at the Warsaw.
Right.
Before we get to that, though, Peaches, neighbor, the daughter neighbor.
I don't think we haven't named Peaches yet, but she's the young daughter of
who's like
Jules
and
his and she has a big old crush on him. Mm-hmm. She comes over with a shirt.
Right. A misprinted shirt. Does she work? I didn't miss did she work at like a factory that prints? Where did she get the shirt?
I missed that part.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how she got the shirt, but she's like, it's a misprinted shirt.
Yeah.
And then it cuts. It's a perfect visual line because they say it's a misprint, and then it cuts to the actual shirt, Drew holding it up. And it's I'm with stupid, but the arrow's pointing directly
right at his
head.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really fun. And she doesn't understand why.
Drew tries to explain that it would point to somebody else, and she goes, "Oh, that'd be funny."
She said that would be funny too.
Yeah. Oh God, beautiful mind.
But Peaches, who ends up being pretty significant B plot, I think.
I would
this
say
episode.
so because
she's going to be a recurring person.
We get Oswald enamored a little bit at Drew's house before they go to the Warsaw. He's talking about Peaches and he's kind of interested, and that picks up then when we're at the Warsaw Cleveland's only bar as far as we're aware. We're there.
We missed you, Warsaw.
We missed you so much. Oswald and Peaches kind of start mingling. Oswald's like hitting on her. He's wearing the "I'm with stupid" shirt, and he's saying he might take her out to go get food. And there's a concern from everybody else that Drew is going to get jealous.
Yeah, because Peaches has been enamored with Drew.
But Drew couldn't give two shits. And Drew he gives him $11, tells him to get a biggie meal. Go off, take this woman away from me. That's great. Brad shows up, meets Drew. We get him pleading. And
Brad the lawyer. And Brad agrees. We should also say Brad the ex-boyfriend. Brad the lawyer / ex-boyfriend to Kate.
He contains multitudes.
He's multifaceted.
He offers to first of all, he tells Drew that there's precedent for this and that somebody else had won a lawsuit. What is it? Precedent with prejudice, right?
Right.
Is the phrase we come back to, that there was a prejudiced act and there is precedent that he could win the court case, and he would be happy to represent
do it
Drew pro bono if he gets a date with Kate. Just trying to win her
back. Now Drew turns to Kate. He's like,
I would never make you go on a beautiful date with this handsome, up-and-coming young man.
Nudge, nudge, come on.
He feels so good. Lewis is telling him, you got to be careful. Don't tempt fate. And he tells Fate, he literally looks up in the sky and he tells Fate, hit me right on the chin. Smash cut. Brad gets a little too handsy at the bar.
Not just handsy. He licks her shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
That's a move.
I don't know if
I've never tried the shoulder lick.
No, that's not the place you're licking.
I feel like that's I feel like straight to jail.
I think
these
Brad's
days.
down bad. Brad was down bad.
Yeah.
Kate throws a drink in his face. He storms out. Drew doesn't have a lawyer. Drew's shit out of luck again. Nevertheless, we stop at a new place.
New place. A fourth place
that will never be yet again. We'll never be here again. It's like a law office.
Generic office space. It might as well be the department store office, but it's a law office for seemingly the poor, or not the poor,
right,
or so much as people that really can't afford it. Run by a stoner / hippie, communist, whatever you want to, lawyer.
Yeah, but it's the 90s and it's Cleveland, so
Yes.
he's still like a white guy. But yeah, it's like a hippie, free love, sort of stonery kind of guy that's wearing like a button down. And he basically tells Drew, there's a lot of great lines here with him. I like him looking at the cartoon and him going, I don't really find that funny, and like, I'm an easy target right now, talking about how stoned he is.
Right.
I like Drew just barely. We find out Drew's salary.
Yeah, Drew makes
$26,000 in 1995. That's wild. I guess that's like a good amount of money.
That's a good middle management job, I guess. But this guy's like, we only represent people $24,000 and under.
Close. He's so close to the poverty line, but he's just a little too rich for their blood. So yeah, Drew can't even get the free stoner lawyer to help him.
Yeah.
He's at the end of his rope.
So sad.
It's so sad.
He's upset. He's distraught because he has nowhere else to go at this point. Because, again, as he keeps saying, he doesn't make enough money to afford a real lawyer.
Oh,
that's why he had to get Kate's
year.
boyfriend to do it pro bono. So, yeah, $26,000 a year.
It's not enough for legal fees.
No.
So we get one last scene. Oh, well, no.
No.
Yeah.
Cut to the next scene. Drew's out there playing pool in a torrential downpour.
We've seen it before, but this time it's a sad
This time
context.
it's a real. Drew's upset and he's trying his best to play through the storm. This point kind of ties up the Peaches subplot.
Yeah.
So
Peaches
comes over while Drew's like distraught, and she starts talking about her and Oswald, and she wants to cut it off with Oswald. I guess her psychic friend is telling her that Drew is really the guy for her, and that it's just,
her psychic friend that she calls.
Yeah, that she calls.
And then she remembers halfway through talking to Drew that she's actually left him on the line. And she has to go back because it's like permitted.
So anyway, she writes a letter for Drew to give to Oswald. And at this point, Drew says something about how much this is going to crush Oswald, because I guess this happens pretty regularly to him.
Yeah.
These women breaking up with him via letter, perhaps, but just like that he's not a serious person.
Correct. That he's not a serious partner. He couldn't.
Yes.
Yeah. So Drew then runs into Oswald, who runs out trying to go talk to Peaches.
Yes.
He's unaware that this is happening.
No, he's like, oh, is that just Peaches? Let me go say hi, Oswald says.
And then Drew stops him. And instead of giving him the letter, instead of telling him any of that, he confides in Oswald. He's actually interested in Peaches. And if you could just lay off. And then Oswald's like, oh, buddy, I thought you said no. And yeah, I
love this moment.
I think it's a nice moment.
This redeeming moment for Drew.
Yeah.
Because, and I wonder why, like, they peppered it in. And I'm wondering if it's because we're all on, like, at this point, we are 2 episodes into, like, Drew being sued for harassment in the workplace,
being represented as a bad guy.
And maybe they're hoping that the audience hasn't forgot that Drew is actually a good person, even though it's a silly lawsuit. I don't know why they give him this kind of nice redeeming moment. Maybe that's just integral to his character. But anyway, he saves his friend the heartbreak.
I do also just want to point out, because at this point, if they've established we can do longer term arcs here, that letter's just in Drew's back pocket. I don't know if we see it again, maybe?
That's a good point.
I'm presenting a possibility.
Actually, I never thought about that. Yeah.
I wonder if it comes back up in any way that this, because
Oswald's wearing Drew's clothes.
Yeah.
That would be how they do it. It would be the craziest shit.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why, I just have this quote written down, Oswald, I got rhythm, and I don't know what that...
Oh, he was saying, oh shit, what was it? I think he's trying to say things that he has that Drew doesn't have.
Yeah, and Drew's like, what do you have? And Oswald says, I got rhythm, and that was it.
So he's a DJ. I think that's a requirement to be a DJ.
Yeah.
So before we get to the end of the episode, I do want to ask, if you were in Drew's situation prior to the last scene here, are you just gonna roll over? I feel like I would at that point just roll over and settle out of court.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm not built for a hostile work environment lawsuit.
I have pride. I guess I get it, but this is not the hill to die on.
I would agree. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, let's be real here. And he's talking about saving his job. Drew clearly cares so much about this $26,000 bullshit middle management department store job
that he has spoken already about hating.
It is insane to me that he is going to continue to risk it all. He can't find any representation. I mean, he's tried everything. I think I might have been like Drew and had these like couple of days to actually find another avenue to defend myself.
Yeah, but when you're at the end of your rope, you're at the end of your rope.
Just sign. Yeah. So I'm with you.
We see Fenn and Geller. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we see Fenn and Geller.
Fenn and Geller come in once
Archibald
again.
Fenn.
Archibald Fenn. They come in once again, and he's presented basically with a final chance to settle out of court. He's gonna lose if he kicks the court. They insist upon that. We get another physical humor bit with Teller. Teller giving pens over and over.
Because every time they pull out a pen, they hand it to Drew to sign. Drew's like, I'm not signing it, and he throws it away.
Yeah.
Pen pulls out another one. Or
Teller.
Yeah.
Teller's the one that does.
Teller's the one that does.
You got to give him the physical bits.
Penn's the narrative guy.
Penn's the angry atheist.
Yes.
So yeah, and basically, Drew tells them in family friendly language to fuck off. I'm gonna represent myself in this case.
Yes, and he bursts out into a solo of "God Bless America."
We get the whole thing. He doesn't remember the full lyrics.
No,
stand beside
her. He goes all the way to the end.
Absolutely. We get the audience applauding. I do like that. That was the first time, like, other than Penn and Teller being introduced, that I'm reminded we have a studio audience. It could just be like sound effects.
I guess there are laughs, but they aren't like as prevalent.
They're not as forward in your mind when you're watching it.
Right.
So yeah, that's how we end with this. Oh, I guess we do end the credits scene
where they're pretending to be Peach's psychic friend. Trying to turn her off of Drew, and then he gets caught anyway. Yeah,
I do like the one physical bit we get is that he's got Lewis looking out the window for him
with binoculars.
And he goes, "Here's how I can prove it. You know what? Right now you're wearing," and Lewis goes, "curlers," and he goes, "curlers," and also you're wearing, and then we get a look from Lewis like, "It's just curlers." And Drew goes, It's good. It's a good bit. Kate blows it at the end by yelling Drew's name, but you know. It's a nice little ending. I don't know where the hell we're going. I wouldn't have predicted.
I didn't expect them to add a whole other. I mean, to add clearly this narrative's going to continue. Drew is still defiantly saying he will not sign. How many episodes are in the first season?
So there's 22 episodes.
Holy
in the first
shit!
season.
Okay,
there's no way this can be the whole thing.
This is not going to be the whole thing. This is going to be a couple episodes.
I will tell you. Do you want to know the next episode title?
What is it?
It's episode 7, Drew in Court.
Oh, wow. We get the Drew Carey Show courtroom drama. I love that.
12 Angry Drews. This would be good. I think that might be, if he's in court, we might do the resolution there. I don't know.
I didn't see this coming, though, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, it's because
you got so many episodes in a season. You got to do something.
You have to have some things that overlap. And like, there are shows that, like, for instance, another sitcom that I will continue to bring up over the course of the same era, Seinfeld. It was applauded for its ability to remain episodic. Only once in a while, like, you have the David Putties or the boyfriends maybe, or the significant others that'll carry over.
Or towards the end of the run.
Or the pilot.
Right.
But otherwise, you can just watch an individual episode and it wraps up in a Looney Tunes-ish fashion by the end. And it was really applauded for that on, like, by critics. And you could see, oh, well, that's not really a Drew Carey show, maybe. Drew Carey show will have these more overarching plots, at least. Granted, I would say, like, there's enough jokes in there you could just watch this last episode.
Absolutely.
You don't need the context of the harassment lawsuit.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Do you think he's going to win? I hope.
Of course not.
Oh, you don't think so?
Drew is a put upon everyman. They're not.
The everyman never wins in court. I don't know.
They can't give him a win.
Oh, we also get Nora doesn't return his phone call. So we haven't seen Nora this whole episode. She was in the 5th episode, not in the 6th.
Which one is Nora?
Nora's the one suing him. Because
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just an easy way to write out the character. We don't see her. I'm sure we'll see her in court, but
yeah.
She's
well, I guess we'll see how
I
this
do
goes.
just want to touch on it again. It is kind of amazing how despite, everything changes, everything stays the same. Like, I don't know. It's very interesting that a sitcom from 1995 was talking about, sexism in the office and First Amendment rights and like all these things that also seem very prevalent even in our culture and politics today. It's fascinating to me. I don't know.
Yeah, we continue to beat the same drum.
Yeah.
And maybe that just goes back. Here's my Patriot my Patriot rant. It just goes back to the principles this country was built on, and how much ambiguity was left with freedom,
yes,
free speech, etc.
Yeah, pushing boundaries, acceptability versus or acceptable versus unacceptable. Yeah, it's just as I would have never pinned Drew Carey to be the kind of comedian that would want to paint that sort of story arc.
No,
not that it's a bad thing necessarily.
But I guess again, this kind of back to what we were talking about. I remember the first episode we did this was it does seem to push some things. It tries to be a little.
We called it dated at the time, but it toys with tropes of women and especially
but it's definitely pushing pushing and everything as far as people probably didn't talk about that opening scene of the pilot where they're talking about having sex with someone in prison or whatever. These sorts of things, or the boss having sex with the girlfriend. Definitely. It's dated in the way it's approached because these kind of things today would be way bigger deals, and I guess the 90s Cleveland world they're setting up is just very whatever.
That's how things are.
That's how things are. Yeah. But no, I guess I guess I'm curious to see this is all what they're tackling. We're only 6 episodes in. I know. What all? There's so much to go. What all do they actually tackle by the end of it? Yeah. Or does it just evolve into insanity and they quit trying to actually? Because you see that a lot with sitcoms too, that set off to do. We're going to push it around. We're going to be edgy. We're going to do this and that, and then eventually, after it's probably just fatigue in the writer's room, or you just maybe network intervention, just years of seeing maybe what works. They kind of just devolve into nonsense a little bit towards the end. Totally. It doesn't stand on its principles as a show pushing boundaries like it was in the start. But I don't know. Maybe that's just a very generalized bullshit statement that I just said.
No, I don't think so. I think it was very good. We'll see, though. How far can it go with everything that it's trying to... But it's also weird because while it's also tackling these things, it's not at the same time. It's there, and they're commenting on things, but, it's more it's still a buddy comedy sort of thing. It's still look at these 4 friends that are just trying to navigate the crazy world of life. You know what I mean? It doesn't really feel like it's
it's not heavy.
No, exactly.
No,
it's not even today where
it's goofy.
You would see, I don't know, I don't want to name specific comedians, but when you see guys trying to take a freedom of speech stance on things. Yeah. And pushing, saying offensive, edgy. It's not even trying to do that. It's a caterpillar with a French fry.
Yeah, it's kind of
you know what I mean? The stakes are at the ground. It's interesting.
And the stakes are at the ground, and we're talking about department store drama, workplace drama too. Right. Nothing consequential. This isn't the White House.
No, it's not the White House. That I do want to. Now you've said that, one of my favorite lines in this episode was Penn asking who gave you the right to do that.
To put this cartoon in the memo.
And Drew says it was issued straight from the White House. It's beautiful. Yeah. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
I'm excited to see how it ends, this arc, and then I can't wait to see what other crazy fucking
what
arcs.
other arcs are going to build. I thought, what was interesting too was just, I don't know. I like meeting a lot of these side characters. I'm so interested in how many. What are all these insane boyfriends we're gonna meet that Kate has been with?
Kate's long lexicon.
This
of
creepy lawyer guy. This jean jacket buff.
Yeah.
Snake owning maniac.
Yeah. What's the Rolodex look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
it's a fun little thing to bring up in the way that, to bring back Seinfeld, Jerry had the girlfriends, Kate has the ex-boyfriends. It's fun.
It's good.
So yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, that pretty much is, that wraps it up.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Episode 7.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
And then episode 8. And then after that, we'll, until we're doing this until we're dead.
Until we die.
Until we fall on the ground.
So right now you can go on DraftKings and you can bet on how many episodes until we kill ourselves.
Yeah. I think 50.
50. So if you want to take the over on 50, the under on 50,
use
take the
promo
money
code
line.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.